everyone. It's another Fraud Watch Friday. We are back with another series of fraud tips. I'm Bruce Carlson with the AARP Washington State office in Seattle, and I'm joined by a couple of our great volunteers. Let's bring them on. Hi guys. It's Pat Johnson of Seattle, and back again is Dave Morrow of Bellingham. How's things going today?
Good.
All right. So our topic today, as I understand it, is password security. And I have to say that I'm looking forward to this because I know Dave is going to tell me that I'm a little bit old school on this because I've still got a password list. So we are going to dive into the very important cybersecurity topic of password security and password management. So Pat, take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce. Hello, everyone, and happy Fraud Watch Friday. Welcome to another session with our cybercrime prevention lead, Dave Morrow. He's joining us again from Bellingham, as Bruce said. I'm Pat Johnson, and I'm coming to you from West Seattle. And I'm delighted to be your host during today's discussion. Today, Dave is bringing his career-long cybersecurity background to inform us about the topic of password security. To get us started, Dave, tell us more about why creating strong passwords are so important.
Well, Pat, passwords in general are the best way for the individual user, all of us, to secure our data. Virtually every program nowadays uses passwords, and getting onto the network or getting onto your Wi-Fi or getting into most programs requires a password. Now, the problem with passwords is if we don't have a strong one, they can be easily guessed by hackers or by somebody who wants to break into your account to do nefarious things. So having a strong password is just like not having a lock on your door that has a master key that everybody else has. If you have a password that is very strong, then you have a unique key to your accounts.
So tell us what makes a strong password.
Well, that's a topic of some discussion among the cybersecurity world in the last couple of years, because for years we told people to have upper and lower case and special characters and random sequences of letters and numbers to make it hard for the hackers to guess. Because if you have the word password, or you have any English language word, that can be used in what we call a dictionary attack to download a copy of the dictionary, encrypt it, and then compare it to the password list. And then once they have a match, they know the password. So by mixing it up, by having numbers and characters and letters, you make it harder and much more an intense effort for a hacker to guess your password. But recently, we've heard people talk about using passphrases or using the first letter of a phrase that you know for your password, because most people have so many passwords that it's hard for them to remember those, and they tend to write them down or use the same password over and over again.
So what activities leave your password security vulnerable?
Well, clearly using the same password for Facebook that you use for your bank account, that you use to get on the Seattle Times website, that's the main thing. Using the same password on multiple applications, because if they guess it or get access to it in one place, there's tools out there called credential stuffers where they can try thousands of different other websites, betting that once they've got a good password on one, that you've reused it somewhere else and that they can get access to it. So that's the first thing, is reusing it. And then, of course, not having English language words, not having a word that's, the word password or your dog's name or something that's easily discovered on Facebook by a little research. That's one of the other things you need to do, is make sure that you don't use something that's easily guessed, and that they have to put some effort into it.
So how often should you change your passwords, and how should you keep track of them?
Well, it's entirely up to you. I mean, most people don't want to change them every month. some companies require, because it just gets kind of annoying. 6 months to a year, it depends on what kind of makes you comfortable. What you don't want to do is go 3, 4, 5 years without ever changing your password. So, to me personally, my personal preference is I change it between 6 months and a year, depending on the nature of the account. My very sensitive accounts, I change more often. But every one of my accounts gets changed once a year. But again, it's what makes you more comfortable. Now, to keep track of them, we used to say, don't ever write down your passwords. And that was when very few people had more than 2 or 3 passwords, and we figured you could remember them. But now, instead of, if it's the choice between writing them down and using the same password on every account you have, or virtually the same password, we'd much rather have you write them down. But a password manager is a good way to not have to write them down and not have to remember all the passwords, and let the computer do it for you.
So what are the benefits of using a password manager, and how do you choose one?
Well, password managers, for those folks who've not heard us talk about them before, are programs usually that you load on your laptop or your desktop, and it stores in an encrypted manner all your passwords and the website addresses and your user IDs for those websites in an encrypted manner, either on the laptop or in the cloud, or both. And when you go to a website, it'll let you sign in automatically. Some of them do. Some of them you have to actually, put the password in. But it just avoids you having to remember all, 200 passwords for all your accounts. Mm-hmm. It also, some of the good password managers, now there's all kinds. There's some well-known ones, and there's ones that are, kind of sketchy in my mind. But the really good ones will allow you to put those rules, make it so that you can't make a dumb password, the word password, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the top numbers on the keyboard, or anything like that, that it will automatically give you a random numbers, letters, characters thing for you. And it'll tell you, some of them, it will tell you, hey, it's been past 6 months, you need to change your password. So there's a whole bunch of different options and things you can set it to customize it to make it yours. A good password manager to me is indispensable, because the ones I use, I can use on all my computers. I have several, all my mobile devices, and I share the same passwords, the same password manager, so that they all work on the same process.
And obviously, since the password manager is basically giving you the password, and it will be a mix of numbers and letters and whatever, it would be stronger, and you don't have to worry about that because you don't have to remember it.
Right.
It's in the password manager.
Right. Now, one of the downsides I've discovered personally is that I tend to, if I have to put the password in, I don't remember them anymore. And so I have to actually go to the password manager and get it and look at it in the clear, so that it's not the little dots that it normally comes up in, but it tells me what the password is. If I have to, there's a few websites where it doesn't work and it won't fill it in automatically, that I have to go fill it in myself. And I don't remember any of my passwords, because I don't remember all the account names, because they're all stored in my password manager.
Right. So if you'd prefer not to use a password manager, what are good alternatives?
Well, the worst alternative is to use the same password from application to application to application. That's it. Or the same 4 or 5 passwords from application to application to application. You want to still have those different passwords that you use for all the different sites you go to. But, we no longer get all excited in security about you writing them down, especially if it's in your house where it's just you and the folks you live with, or your loved ones that are there. In the office environment, you don't want to write them on a yellow sticky and stick them up on the wall. But in your home office, or if you're staying home because of COVID, or you haven't gone, you're retired, if you don't want to use a password manager, just have a nice list somewhere don't put it on your computer, because if somebody actually gets into your computer, they can steal it from you. Go ahead and write it down and just have it in a little notebook or something there.
Right. And we have a lockbox at our house, and when you're using it, you could take it out. Otherwise, you could store it. Awesome. Yeah. Well, this has been very helpful, and it's a great introduction to our next week's topic, when we'll actually have an open question and answer session with Dave on cybersecurity. And some of the things we talked about today, we'll link into that. So please join us next Friday, June 18th at 1 p.m., when Dave will be here again to answer your questions on cybersecurity. So we hope you'll join us next Friday at 1 p.m.
Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you very much, Pat and Dave. That was very informative. And Dave, I have to tell you that I have a password manager on my computer, and I've just never set it up because you have to enter all the passwords and it's too much work. But I also have to say,
you have to use it, Bruce. I mean, just setting it up doesn't work. You have to actually use it.
Oh, because I thought just having it on my computer. No, I know.
Put the password in there. Yeah.
I'm bad, but I've got this huge list of passwords. And, in this modern world, we're getting passwords for everything. Your phone, your computers, every app. So this is really a thing to clean up for sure. So I did want to mention that we have a lot of information on password managers and passwords and every other fraud topic that you could imagine at our ARP Fraud Watch Network website. And that's arp.org/fraudwatchnetwork. And then I also wanted to mention our Fraud Fighter call center, where if you have a question about fraud, if you think you might be being approached by a scammer or you have a loved one, maybe you're trying to help, you can call and talk to one of our trained volunteers who are part of the Fraud Watch Network, as Pat and Dave are. And that number is 877-908-3360. That's 877-908-3360. And I also wanted to mention our ARP Speakers Hub. It's a speakers bureau, and we give presentations kind of like this one, except they're like about an hour long, and they're a full overview of fraud. And Dave and Pat, you have both been involved in that, right?
Oh, yeah. Right, as well as other topics.
Yeah, as well as brain health. I'm thinking fraud right now, so I'm not thinking of the others, but I know there are home fit. That's right. How to make your home more age friendly and safer as you age. So those are two that we can think of off the top of our heads. And if you would like a presentation like that, you can send an email to aarpwa@arp.org. And you can be hooked up with our Fraud Watch Network volunteer crew. And we do presentations for any kind of group. So that's something else. So we got a lot of resources. I hope you got some information on the very important topic of passwords, because it's all around us. And if you're hacked, it's bad news. So is there anything else that we should know about this, Dave and Pat, for this week?
Change your password. Go away and change your password.
That's true.
That is true. I have some that date back probably to the 80s. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. You don't have it.
And make a list and keep it safe.
Right. Yeah, but you're right. Okay. All right. So all good tips. But if you want to learn more, arp.org/fraudwatchnetwork. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Pat and Dave. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.